So I'm Frances Scott, and I'm speaking today at the U.S. Food and Drug Administration's Communications about the Safety of Medical Devices. I will get 2 minutes, and clearly that won't be enough. I wanted to say a few things. First of all, specifically addressing the content of the FDA's communications. You, the FDA, say you use real-world evidence in your post-market surveillance, i.e., what the companies study when a device goes on the market, i.e., what happens if it starts hurting people. But the people, and people don't understand this, the people paying to do the research on a device to figure out whether it's hurting people or not are the same people, the device companies, who stand to gain measurably, significantly, financially, if the device is perceived favorably. That's your real-world evidence, depending upon the manufacturers to tell you how the thing's doing once it started to be put in people who don't even know that it wasn't tested before it started being sold? Or maybe a few doctors who care, have the time, and are willing to report it to you. That's not many. All this is actually, as far as the post-market surveillance that you say is real-world evidence, this is marketing. This is drug and device companies creating science, spinning it as fact, and then you say that's the real-world evidence. It's not. These are often paid mercenary scientists, paid researchers, paid by the drug and device companies. Of course, the results might be manipulated by the company, the studies designed by the company not to detect health problems in people who have the devices. And this is true whether we're talking about post-market studies, which the real world might not understand, are studies done after a device that was never tested before it was sold in real humans in clinical trials, but then is followed after it starts getting put in paying clients and how they're doing. Incidentally, the devices that wrecked my life for 7.5 years were never tested in humans before they were put on the market. The company applied for clearance to sell this product, this hip implant, and got clearance by the FDA less than 30 days later. How can you adequately evaluate a device's safety and all of these studies that the companies provide you and determine if they're factual in less than 30 days? Please mandate that all patients who plan to get FDA-cleared devices implanted be required by their surgeons to sign ahead of time, days before a surgery even can be scheduled, to sign a bold type, large print document that says, "I understand that I am about to get an implanted device put in my body that has never been tested in a single human clinical trial before the FDA allowed it to be sold." The hip implants that destroyed almost a decade of my life were only tested before they were allowed by the FDA to be sold in robots, in containers of water. Robots don't have tissue that can die. They don't have brains and vital organs that can be poisoned or destroyed. And they don't feel pain. They don't have children, families, elderly parents whose lives also will be wrecked if that device goes on to destroy their health and livelihood. That's the pre-market surveillance. We, the public, think you, the FDA, are watching out for us. You, the FDA, need to make it clear that the FDA does not test devices itself. The public doesn't know this, but instead depends upon science, aka studies, paid for, designed by, and given to the FDA by the device companies themselves. The very people who stand to make a bunch of money if their devices are perceived to be safe and effective, and that problems, aka adverse events, if you're speaking FDAEs, are exceedingly rare. We, the patients, the American people, need you, the FDA, to learn to speak and write clearly. Please stop using acronyms. MDUFA, ADRs, CDRHA, real people who are working all the time can't keep up with all this. We shouldn't have to learn a whole new language to be able to get through all of what we can barely find on your website. Please learn to use plain English in your videos and in everything written online. Hire advisors to teach conversational writing and speaking that's clear. They aren't adverse events, they're problems that hurt people. My concern is that the FDA has been using this confusing language, again, for a long time, because it's protecting the device pharma companies, which would not want the patients to be clearly informed about a device that's causing problems in people. We need you, the FDA, to mandate that surgeons must tell a patient in bold print writing clearly in days, if not weeks, in advance of the surgery being scheduled, exactly the product he will be given, how many different products he will be getting. Most people don't realize that sometimes the implant devices they're getting, it's a couple products with a couple different component options. So how many different products they'll be getting, the make, the company, like DePuy, J&J, the model, like, for example, the Pinnacle hip, each component option, aka the A-sphere head, the ultimate liner, and here's the kicker, exactly what materials are used to make every product. I would also appreciate it if you would mandate that people be tested for allergies to the materials used in their implants weeks before optional surgeries, elective surgeries like hip replacements, or even sometimes pacemakers or defibrillators. It doesn't matter what you communicate or how you communicate if nobody is forcing the surgeons to clearly communicate exactly what the patient will be getting. Patients don't even know what they get implanted in their bodies. They don't know that they need to worry about these details because they think you are covering it. They think the FDA is testing these devices ahead of time. They don't even know to ask ahead of time, hey, exactly what will you be giving me and exactly what's in it. We think you are watching all this, but you're not. And you're leaving it up to the device companies. And we're getting our lives ruined and our children's lives ruined. And we can't care for our elderly parents. And that's if we survive. And finally, all your meetings, just like this one, need to be put in their entirety online, yes, on YouTube, Facebook, all the social media sites, of course. But we all know these sites have pharma and device companies as major advertisers. And therefore, they do censor. They will censor. So these videos and all these transcripts need to be put on your site, the one that belongs to us, the American people. The transcripts, the video of the entire part of the meeting itself, and left there in a way that's searchable. And one last thing, without a device registry, a mandatory, publicly searchable device registry, which we don't have because I know the device industry does not want us to have it. But without that, millions are going to keep getting hurt. So thank you for your time.